Have you ever pondered why solitude often feels like loneliness? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? We often blur the lines between these two states of being, but they are, in fact, quite distinct. Solitude is the state of being alone without feeling lonely, a state of peaceful self-contentment. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a sense of isolation, a feeling of disconnection from the world around us. The teachings of the Buddha provide a profound perspective on this distinction, shedding light on the profound benefits of solitude and how it differs from the discomfort of loneliness. According to Buddha, solitude is not a state to be feared, but a condition to be embraced, a pathway to inner peace and self-discovery. So, are you intrigued? Ready to explore this further? Let's embark on a journey into the wisdom of Buddha's teachings, a journey that begins early in his life. Buddha's journey into solitude started early in his life. Let's delve into it. Born as Siddhartha Gautama to King Suddhodana, Buddha lived in a palace, isolated from the harsh realities of life. In the luxuriant city of Kapilavastu, nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas, the young prince led a life of absolute comfort and opulence. His father, aiming to protect him, ensured that he was kept away from any sight of suffering or hardship. The palace walls became a cocoon, shielding him from the world outside, a world that was far from the ideal paradise he was raised to perceive. Siddhartha's life was a tapestry of joy and indulgence. He was surrounded by an abundance of wealth, had every conceivable luxury at his disposal, and was attended by a retinue of servants who catered to his every need. But even in this cocoon of comfort, Siddhartha was not immune to the innate human curiosity that stirs within us all. He began to question his existence, the purpose of his luxurious lifestyle, and the world beyond the palace walls. This curiosity, much like a tiny spark, began to grow, igniting a flame of desire to understand the world and its truths. As the years went by, the palace walls started to feel less like a protective shield and more like a prison. A profound sense of isolation began to creep in. He was isolated not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. He yearned to break free from the shackles of his sheltered existence and experience life beyond the ornate palace gates. And so, the day came when Siddhartha's curiosity grew too strong to ignore. He made the bold decision to venture out into the world, stepping out of the gilded cage his father had so carefully constructed. He was about to embark on a journey that would forever change his life and the course of human history. His curiosity led him to venture out, bringing him face to face with the realities he was shielded from. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in Siddhartha's life, a chapter that would see him transform from a sheltered prince to the enlightened Buddha. The world outside the palace was a stark contrast to Siddhartha's sheltered life. The four sights that Siddhartha encountered outside the confines of his royal palace were far removed from the luxurious and carefree life he had known. The first sight was that of an old man. His frail body, hunched back and slow pace, struck Siddhartha with the harsh reality of aging. It was a profound revelation that youth and vitality were not everlasting, but rather fleeting and transient. This was Siddhartha's first encounter with the inevitable cycle of life and decay. The second sight was a sick man, writhing in pain and discomfort. Siddhartha was moved by the man's suffering and was taken aback by the realization that disease and discomfort are inescapable facets of life. This was a stark contrast to his shielded existence, where such suffering was alien and unknown. The third sight, perhaps the most poignant, was a dead body. The sight of lifeless form, once vibrant and full of life, now devoid of breath and motion, deeply disturbed Siddhartha. He pondered over the impermanence of life and the certainty of death, concepts he had never contemplated in his sheltered life. The final sight was a serene and composed monk, seemingly unaffected by the suffering that surrounded him. This sight offered Siddhartha a glimmer of hope amidst the despair. The monk's detachment from worldly desires and his tranquility in the face of life's suffering intrigued Siddhartha. He saw in the monk a way to combat the suffering that he had just discovered existed in the world. Each of these sights shook Siddhartha's understanding of life, revealing to him the pain, suffering, and impermanence that define human existence. They propelled him towards introspection, making him question the meaning of life and the purpose of his own existence. This realization set him on a path of self-discovery. Siddhartha's encounters with the four sights marked the beginning of his journey towards enlightenment, a journey that would lead him to solitude and ultimately to becoming the Buddha. Leaving his princely life behind, Siddhartha embarked on a spiritual journey. A journey that led him to the heart of solitude, a path less traveled, but one that held the promise of true self-discovery and enlightenment. When Siddhartha left the confines of his palace, he was stepping into a world unknown, a world where he was alone. But in this solitude, he did not find loneliness. Instead, he found a path to self-awareness. He began to perceive the world in its purest form, untouched by societal norms and expectations. He found in solitude a space to reflect, to contemplate, and most importantly, to understand the nature of suffering and the path to its cessation. The Buddha once said, "Be islands unto yourselves, be your own refuge." This teaching underscores the significance of solitude in Buddhist philosophy. In solitude, we find the space to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. We learn to understand our desires, our fears, our joys, and our sorrows. Through this understanding, we begin to see the world as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. But solitude is not about isolation or disconnection. On the contrary, it's about deepening our connection with ourselves and, in turn, with everything around us. It's about finding that still, quiet place within where we can hear the whispers of our soul. It's about realizing that we are part of a larger whole, interconnected and interdependent. In teaching us the value of solitude, Buddha is not advocating for a life of hermitage. Instead, he is guiding us towards a state of being where we can be alone without feeling lonely, where we can be at peace with ourselves and the world around us. A state of being where we can truly understand the impermanence of everything, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the path to liberation from suffering. Siddhartha's journey from a prince to a monk was not an easy one, but it was a journey he chose, a journey that led him to the discovery of the Four Noble Truths and the path to enlightenment. From a prince to a monk, his journey was a testament to the power of solitude. Buddha's teachings on solitude hold profound wisdom. In the vast expanse of Buddha's teachings, one finds a recurring theme of solitude. But it's essential to understand that Buddha's solitude isn't marked by loneliness or isolation. Instead, it's a peaceful state of being, a tranquil coexistence with oneself, away from the incessant chatter of the external world. Buddha's teachings tell us that solitude is a shelter, a refuge where one can retreat to find peace and clarity. It's a place where one can observe their thoughts, feelings, and emotions without judgment or interference. Here, in this self-imposed solitude, one can truly start the journey of self-discovery and self-understanding. Buddha believed that solitude allows one to confront their fears, desires, and attachments, the root causes of all human suffering. It's in solitude that one can truly see these chains that bind us, and thus understand how to break free. This liberating process, Buddha taught, leads to the cessation of suffering, and ultimately to nirvana, the state of ultimate peace and liberation. Moreover, solitude, according to Buddha, is not a state to be feared or avoided. Instead, it's a state to be embraced, for solitude cultivates mindfulness and awareness. It provides the silence and space necessary for deep contemplation, for understanding the impermanence of all things, and for realizing the interconnectedness of all beings. Buddha's teachings on solitude are not about escaping the world, but about understanding it and our place within it. It's about gaining wisdom through introspection, attaining a state of inner peace that remains unshaken, even amidst the chaos of the outer world. In essence, Buddha's teachings on solitude are a guide to a deeper understanding of the self, a path to inner peace, and a tool to transcend suffering. It invites us to retreat into our inner worlds, to observe, to understand, and to liberate ourselves from the shackles of our own minds. In solitude, Buddha found his enlightenment, teaching us that solitude is not loneliness, but a path to self-understanding and peace. And Buddha's teachings on solitude provide a different perspective on what we often perceive as loneliness. As we've journeyed through his early life, the four sights, and his path to enlightenment, we've seen how solitude played a pivotal role in his journey. Buddha's teachings illuminate the difference between loneliness and solitude. While loneliness reflects a sense of isolation and disconnection, solitude, as Buddha taught, is a state of being alone without feeling lonely. It's a time for self-reflection, inner peace, and spiritual growth. By embracing solitude, we can better understand ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, and our place in the universe. It can guide us to a path of mindfulness and acceptance, allowing us to cultivate inner peace and contentment. This understanding can transform how we perceive and experience moments of being alone, turning them from instances of loneliness to opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Buddha's teachings on solitude. May you find peace in your solitude.